Hey, Greg here, founder of www.wrestling-divas.web.com, your source for highlighting the most beautiful and deadly entertainers in professional wrestling. Although still young in her career as a professional wrestler, my next special guest has worked for some of the best and brightest professional wrestling independent companies out there right now, including SHIMMER Women Athletes, NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and Big Time Wrestling. She is also recognized as the first ever pro wrestling destination women's champion. So I'd like to welcome my next special guest, Davina Rose. Hi, Davina. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining me. Now, before we get to the start of your career and how you got into wrestling, I know that you have some events for Big Time Wrestling in September that you would like to promote. And for those who don't know, Big Time Wrestling is a pretty big independent company located currently in California. So can you tell us about those events and what you'll be doing there and whom you might be facing?
Yeah, Big Time Wrestling is based out of Newark, California, so it's kind of like the Oakland, San Francisco area. We have two shows coming up, and actually it's in Sacramento on September 8th and the 9th. And those, we don't have full details for those yet. It will be on www.btwrestling.com. I believe Chris Masters will be featured on both of those shows. And then September 21st, we are back in the Newark Pavilion at 7:30 p.m., and our guest that night is John Morrison, so that's going to be a really big show. And not sure about my opponent yet. You guys got to keep up on the website and check that out in the coming weeks.
Well, with WWE stars, or former WWE stars, I should say, appearing on those shows, I'm sure fans will be up to date and keep an eye out for all those events. That sounds really, really awesome.
Yes, they're a lot of fun. They're good shows.
So, I was reading up about you earlier today, and like a lot of others in the industry, and like a lot of fans out there, you grew up watching wrestling with your family, and you trained at a young age. So nothing there is really unorthodox. But what was the exact moment in your life that you said to yourself, okay, I'm going to pursue a career in professional wrestling?
I don't know if there's an exact moment or match or day that it kind of hit me. I think it was just the mixture. It didn't take long for me to realize it was something that I wanted to do. The first person that really caught my eye was actually Macho Man Randy Savage, and he's what brought me into wrestling. I wanted to keep watching it, and it was mainly because of everything that he brought to the ring and everything, the way he carried himself, the way he looked. So that's what kept me interested. And as soon as I saw the girls on there, it was like Ivory or Jacqueline and whoever was around at that time, and it was just, I thought it was so amazing that these women could go out there and do what the guys were doing. And so I was always athletic growing up, and I loved basketball, was like my number one sport, but once I saw this, I knew that it was something that I wanted to be a part of for sure.
So nearly every wrestling fan out there knows that wrestling is a male-dominated industry, and when females go to train to pursue careers of their own, it can sometimes be very intimidating due to the lack of female talents out there. So when you were training, and even now, do you feel under pressure to try to prove yourself to the guys and make sure that they believe in you, seeing as the amount of space for women out there is extremely limited?
Yeah, when I first started, I was, and even now, when I first started with BTW, with Jason Styles as my head trainer, I was the only girl. So it was a lot of, they didn't really think that I would last because, they've seen girls come and go and last a few weeks and leave and just, they're just joining to be around guys, or they think they want to do it, but they don't last. So I think they kind of just thought that about me, and me being such a smaller girl, they didn't think I had it in me. So starting out like that, I already wanted to prove them wrong because I could already sense that, that's kind of what they thought. But even now, like almost over 4 years later, I'm still the only girl. There was one girl that had come through while I was training, and she lasted I want to say only a month. But as I've grown to know them, they're like family to me now. It's not so much me trying to prove to them anymore. I think I've earned respect of most of them. I think it's helped me a lot in my career to be training with just guys, because they don't let me slack. They don't let me just wrestle like a girl. They want me to be at their level, and that's where I want to be too. I want to be able to hang with the guys, and so I think training with all guys has really helped me in a lot of different areas. But also, I think it's really good to learn from other women too. Just being around, meeting a lot of veterans, and women have a different point of view and kind of understand where other women wrestlers are coming from. So that's great too, but I think I was still fortunate to be trained by the group of guys that I was.
So nearly any wrestling trainer will tell you that there's no guarantees at all for anyone in this industry, especially if you want to make it to the big time, meaning the WWE or TNA Impact Wrestling. So to you, what's your motivation to keep going and to keep pursuing a career despite the fact that you may never make it to big time? And furthermore, what defines success to you in this industry?
The thing that motivates me most, I think, is I just like to think about, back when I was a kid and envisioning this. I mean, when I was a kid, I always I want to be a wrestler, and it's going to I used to write poems about it for school and write essays about how great I'm going to be and how much fun it's going to be. But once I actually started, it becomes reality, and you really got to face how are you going to make it, and how are you can't let down that little kid that wanted to do this. So my motivation mainly is really thinking of myself as a kid. As I don't know if that makes sense to you or if that's weird, but just I want to keep that strive that I had as a kid, and just know I don't know, that mixed with my main trainer Jason. I think he's pushed me really hard since I started, and I want to make him proud. My parents, my family, they know I've been in love with it forever, and actually a lot of the veteran girls like Serena and Sarah Del Rey, I want to be at that level at least. If I weren't to make it to WWE or TNA, I at least want to get some respect like they do and be recognized at least as little bit as they do. So I look up to the girls like that, and I just want to be as good as them. And what was the second part of that question?
Oh, no. What defines success to you? I mean, you kind of touched upon that a little bit, but...
Yeah, what defines success to me? I mean, I think small goals, I feel like I've succeeded in small goals that I've had. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a wrestler. Okay, I got that done. When I started wrestling, I wanted to be a part of Shimmer, and I got that. I've been there twice already. So, I mean, those aren't the only goals, but I think I'm already successful so far. And as I keep making goals, it's little parts of success to me. But I already feel like I fulfilled the dream. If I had to stop tomorrow for some reason or something had happened, knock on wood, but I mean, I would be so happy with everything that I've been able to do, all the opportunities I've had, all the people I met, and some great matches that I really enjoyed. So, I mean, making it big time is a big dream of mine, but I'm really happy with everything that I've gotten to do so far.
So wrestling is an obsession, and just like anything else in life, there's a major difference between a healthy obsession and an unhealthy obsession. And sometimes people in any field, the entertainment industry or whatever, can sometimes cross that line and definitely begin to go down the wrong path and go down the wrong path even more, and some people dig themselves out of that, some people don't. So based on what you've seen and heard so far, where do things begin to go wrong for those individuals who become perhaps too obsessed and too preoccupied with wrestling to the point where it's kind of destroying their standards and values?
Are you asking as far as like fans or actual wrestlers?
Actual workers.
I haven't really seen too much of that, I guess. I don't know if it's like obsession with the sport. I've seen a lot of I mean, maybe you mean the same thing, but like a lot of cockiness, or people are in way too over their head with themselves or way too into themselves. But you're going to see that everywhere with sports everywhere. I think, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I haven't experienced too much of that or know anybody personally like that, but it's in everybody. I guess all of us are a little into ourselves for doing this.
So when you get into this ring and you train and you try to develop yourself and stand out and learn all these little things you can do to make yourself noticeable, there's a big difference between imitation and emulation. And although some workers out there may use moves that other workers use, the way they kind of deliver it makes it stand out even more than the guy next to them, or girl, if you will. So what's the difference to you in wrestling, and in terms of the character that you are, between imitation and emulation? I always feel like, I mean, if someone's going to use somebody else's move, like you said, you got to kind of change it up and make it your own. I mean, everybody does clotheslines and everybody does suplex, but if you can add a little something to kind of get people to notice you. I had somebody had given me really good advice before, like his name's Almighty Sheik. He's like, when you get in the ring, everybody gets ready the same way, but show that you, like, try to make your own little thing, like move your arms a certain way, and, people are going to start noticing little, like, like innuendos that you do, and they'll start remembering you for that. So I think same goes for moves. If you're going to do a nice drop kick, do something out, make a noise when you're going up, like show some aggression. As far as like me, I mean, I don't do too many like flashy things, I guess. I don't do a lot of moves that like you normally see. I don't know. That's a tough question. I guess you always kind of try to make it your own and make everybody feel your energy around you, and as long as the crowd's into it, I mean, you can make them enjoy every move that you're doing. A big part of wrestling inside the ring is in-ring psychology, and in-ring psychology for a worker, let alone a fan, is a really hard concept to try and understand in the ring and what you do. But as mentioned before, you work for SHIMMER, and I think SHIMMER really does a great job at telling a good story, even if there's no build-up to a match. And a lot of times there are, but, sometimes, in the earlier segments and cards, that there really isn't. But regardless, you see a good story when you watch a SHIMMER taping. And you locked up with Saraya Knight, and I usually don't put like personal biases in my interviews or anything, but I think Saraya is like one of the best female wrestlers ever, period. So working with all these different talents and seeing an array of experience and trying to work with them, what do you kind of take away from SHIMMER and other big companies like that you will then continue to use in your career and in your matches as far as from what you've learned?
at Shimmer, all those girls are so talented, and you can learn something from everybody in there. So, like you were saying about the psychology, I had a problem with that. I still do sometimes have a problem with that, like being trained that way, and what makes sense in a match and how you want to go about your match. And at Shimmer, they are definitely like that. The people get what they paid for. What I've learned from them is since all the women's matches, they're all women's matches there. Everybody wants to put on the best match, so everybody's going to go out there and give you everything they have. Like, honestly, we have 2 matches in one day, and they won't stop at anything they won't shy away from anything they want to do to entertain you. They do a lot of different things. It's not just your basic women's match. Every match is different, and I think that's what's awesome about Shimmer. And every girl in that locker room is so eager to go out there and actually wrestle and give those people a good show. And it's really refreshing to see women like that want to put on a real good wrestling match. And it's amazing being in that locker room because those girls are so passionate about it, and that's who that's who I want to be around. And I think if I can take that from them and just share it with girls who haven't been fortunate to be in Shimmer yet, just so they treat it as the real sport that it is, and it's hard to explain Shimmer. Like, it's so awesome over there, and I have so much fun. There's so much I've learned from all the girls, and just not only in the girls that I've been lucky enough to have matches with, just talking with girls when we're watching other matches on the monitor. So, yeah, I take a lot from them, and I've learned a lot from them.
So, you said it was a refreshing change to see women out there who really want to put on a good show, and perhaps a lot of hardcore wrestling fans out there would agree with the statement, but an individual in business once told me that the amount of women who really want to put on a good wrestling show is the exception and not the rule. And I'm sure you would have an opinion on this. So how do you avoid frustration when you see perhaps a girl on TV who necessarily doesn't have wrestling in her blood or in her heart, and continue to move forward and continue to progress when you see women out there who really aren't trying their best, to be quite frank?
The girls on TV, it's some of it. I don't know if I'm not there, so I can't judge anything that's on TV or be like, well, they suck and blah. Like, I know that there's most of them are talented in that locker room that are on TV. Both TNA and WWE. It's just I don't know if they get full opportunity or what's going on back there. But I lost my train of thought. A good example is like Trish Stratus. She started out as a model. She was there being a model, and basically they told her if you don't learn how to wrestle that she was going to be let go or be fired. And she learned how to wrestle, and she became one of the best women wrestlers. So I think all those girls can have a lot of potential. They're out there for a reason. So, it's not so frustrating. At least there's companies like Shimmer and WSU and Femme Fatales that, if people want to see different wrestling other than what you see on TV, there is really good women's wrestling out there. And the girls, they're not complaining that they're not on TV. They're very happy to be in any of those locker rooms. So, yeah. So,
in wrestling on the independent scene, there's a big in the now aspect of it, because a lot of the indie wrestling matches aren't taped out there, and once it's over, it's over. So how do you make the best of the in the now aspect of wrestling a match like that and make sure that fans get something out of it when they walk out those doors?
You mean how do we make it more memorable for them? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Let's see. If I'm in my home promotion. A lot of the people, I mean, they see me wrestle every single show, so I hope that they, I'm just wrestling a different girl every show. I try to throw in like different things or make it look different and try to change out my outfit every single time, so they would remember like little things, even if it's not something in the match. Maybe it's I did my makeup differently or I had a cool new design on my tights. It's like any little thing, go out there and hug one of the kids, or little things that just, if one person can remember one thing, then I think it's a successful night. When I go out to like newer promotions, things like if I haven't been to a promotion before, I do try to do a little more flashy moves just so they catch their attention if I didn't when I came out. I think it's the little things, like looking into somebody's eyes. If a little kid feels like you're there with them and you're not just someone being on stage, you let them feel like they're a part of the show, and they're going to remember that, because that's how I was. Like, I remember one time I was at one of the big-time wrestling shows. I was like 12 or something, and I forgot who it was, but somebody came up. It was one of the names came up to me and was like, "Get up," and I got out of my chair, and he took my chair and used it to hit Jason Styles, and like that, I went home the happiest kid ever. It's just little things like that. If you can do it, it really makes their night.
Well, definitely. I don't think you have to do a lot to make these fans feel like $1 million. So that's definitely a good point. Yeah. And I try not to lose my train of thought. Oh, yeah. This is always one of my favorite questions to ask, and I try to ask this one question every single interview that I do, regardless of who it's with. So, if you could sum up your experience with professional wrestling and your career in just one word, what would that one word be?
That's tough. Shoot.
Tough, isn't it?
It is tough. Dang, I had a word. Roller coaster.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. And you are going to be a part of a new experimental question that I've been working on, and this is the first time I'm going to ask this question, so you do hold that honor. It kind of does springboard off the last one. So if you could give any aspiring wrestling fan who's looking to pursue a career advice, but you had to sum it up in one sentence, what would it be?
Stay true to yourself and never stop learning.
Ah, well, that's a great answer. And, again, you do hold that honor. That's the first time I've asked this question in, like, the 3 years I've done interviews. So, yay.
Cool. Thank you.
So, wrapping up, how can fans or bookers get in contact with you if they want to send you fan mail or possibly use you for their shows? How can they do that?
If anybody would like to contact me, bookers, promoters, wrestling fans, no matter what, you can always follow me on Twitter at It's Davina Rose. I also have my email linked onto my profile, but it's davinabooking@yahoo.com. And any fans could just email me any questions, any young wrestlers, any advice, anything you guys need. Go ahead and email me, tweet me, follow me. And those are the only two ways to contact me right now. I don't have a fan page or anything. Or you can, if you're in the Bay Area, come check out a local big-time wrestling show. And you can talk to me in person.
Well, definitely. And thank you so much for your time, Davina. I really enjoyed this interview, and I certainly do wish you all the best of luck in your career. And I feel as if this is only the beginning for you. And you've already made quite an impact here on the independent scene. So best of luck again, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Greg.
thanks to everyone else who tuned into this interview. Be sure to check out www.wrestling-divas, and that's divas with a Z.webs.com, for more content, and be sure to follow the website on Twitter at Wrestling Divas, again with a Z at the end, for all the latest updates.